So I'm Leanne, I'm 33 years old, I've got 2 children. I grew up in Stockport in Reddish, South Reddish. Reddish, back when I was younger, was a predominantly white area. So I don't feel like it's hindered me too much on my journey, but I suppose there's certain things that you do look at my identity, for instance, because I was in a white area, growing up in a white area, I never really was in touch with the black side of me, if that makes sense. But like I said, it's always been quite positive experiences that I've had, so it's not been, I never really experienced racism within school. I think the school policy was quite good with that. When I was in school, in primary school for instance, I was one of 2 mixed race children, but kids are quite polite at that age, so although I knew I was different, I was never experiencing anything negative from that experience. Moving on to secondary school, it became more diverse. So because it was Reddish and a lot of children from Gorton and Levenshulme and surrounding areas from Manchester, although it was in Stockport, attended that school as well. So that was probably more where I experienced different cultures. My family life was relatively normal growing up. Obviously because I study counselling, you hear a lot of horror stories from people, so I can't mind, it isn't questionable to compared to some stories that I've heard. I just feel like it was relatively normal, we was just normal kids growing up. The circle of friends that I had, it wasn't really, I don't see them anymore. I'm literally not in that same circle of friends that I was with because we just have different interests as I've grown up. So the people that I've chosen to hang around with now and like associate myself with now, quite professional. So I've got police officer friends, I've got social worker friends, got friends that own their own business. So I think my circle of friends have changed since I've grown up. When I got my first job, I was never really money motivated. It was kind of just to do it, just to please people, because it's like I went to, actually, my first college course was to do beauty therapy, and that was because a lot of the people that I left school with, that's what they was going on to do, but I knew in my heart was never in it, so I barely attended lessons. I ended up walking out that course probably a year into it, and then ended up going into work instead, which was a call centre, and I ended up doing telesales work, and I hated every minute of sales because I was never good at it. I can't persuade anyone to buy things, but for me it was just I needed to kind of go out and try to earn my own money, but I never took it that seriously. And then a couple of years later, I'm doing jobs from telesales and jumping from different jobs. I went to work in Greece for a season, which I probably was one of the best experiences that I've had. I know it's not travelling around the world, but for me it was my independence and it was just fun. It was just something that I enjoyed doing. So I came back from there, and that's when I met my son's dad. And then Jaden was born, and after that it was kind of where I knuckled down. So before all this I didn't drive. My son's dad was the one that worked. I was just kind of a stay-at-home mum. So being from a mixed race background, I never really felt like I had a place that belongs, if that makes sense, especially within school, my secondary school years, because my white friends would always make it apparent that I was black, but then my black friends would always make it apparent that I was white, that I was more white than black. So it was kind of stuck in the middle. It just felt like there was never a place where I belonged. But then I suppose a lot of the friends, my circle of friends, were white. So for me it was more of, rather than trying to stand out, I more tried to fit in. So it went from having my hair curly to having it poker straight. I'm not the same person that I was then. Like, I will wear my hair curly, I like to have it wild, because it's natural. I don't want to just hide away anymore. I think my children, my daughter especially, who is a lot lighter than I am, will say proudly that she's mixed race. She will say that, and she's got the greenest eyes, and my son's the same. Like, they will say that they've got brown skin, and although it doesn't look like that, they know their roots and they know that their family's black. So I do explain it more to them, and I'm not saying it was ever a problem. When I was growing up, it was never. I feel like my life probably would have been maybe different if I'd grew up in a different area. Maybe that's the case, but I don't. Like I said, Reddish, my friendship groups changed, so a lot of my friends are still from Stockport, but then because it changed, I still think it's got that good and the bad aspects, if that makes sense, because if I'd stayed in Reddish and still hung around with them same people, then I could have been in a completely different place to what I am now. I think it's more apparent now when you're out and about, because you didn't really see that many black faces around Stockport. There's a lot more now, and that's within like the police, within the fire service, within the NHS. There's mixed communities now, so yeah, I do think it has changed since what it was like when I was a child.